Very silent, very quickly. No fault. Good afternoon and welcome to a wonderful spot. Given the weather and the fact that today is the last day on the test, and it's not being over. And so it's wonderful to have all of you here when we talk about the sense of community all the time. You guys are so involved. And then today is many people went home. It's just wonderful to see the wide array of USF community that we embrace and cherish so much here at the university. I'd like to take just a moment as we welcome, of course, our new coach and his family and all of the media. Thank you, media, for being with us today. And my staff, our staff here at the university, thank you for being here. It's wonderful to see that show of support. But I also want to do the most important group here, and that's our students. And those that hung around for the students, and you just raise your hand if you're a student at the University of Sioux Falls. I want to put on people that we have the honor to serve with, and they are great ambassadors for our university. And we appreciate that so much. You know, I look out in the crowd today, and I know we crosses many generations of USF, whether you're a supporter or a former athlete. Football in particular has that strong following alumni. We're seeing that here today, and I think Coach Rose, calling, also has felt that in his text messages of recent. They've been pretty cool, so we don't get a response anymore. It's because they're just behind. You know, we take great pride in University of Sioux Falls and our curricular offerings. We always try to make sure that our degrees are meaningful and it takes our students to the places they want to go when they graduate. But our co-curricular programs also serve a critical purpose also because they align with everything we try to do in the mission center here at the university. And it's been that way for 139 years at this very location. I don't believe that we have a marker over here at our new residence hall that demonstrate a long history, rich tradition of university. And of course, one of those co-curricular programs, and the reason we're here today, is football. Provides opportunities for all our stakeholders to gather as a community. There's nothing more fun on a Saturday. We gather at our stadium with people. We have great company, great conversations. Enjoy watching our athletes compete. That is an important part of this community, and we know that. I often talk about this. I walk into coffee shops or places, and you know, the first thing that people usually want to discuss with me is our football team or our basketball team. And so it always occurs to me how high the visibility and ambassadorship program that is for our university. And if we take all that away, one of the things I never lose sight of as president is that 110 or so on any given year of our males, of about 10% of our traditional undergraduate enrollment, play on the football team. That's a big deal to our business model and to our identity as a Christian private university. Without question, we do worry about wins and losses. We like to win here. I remember when we went to Division II, that was the big question. We go to Division II and continue the activities. We have done that. We take great pride in that. We want all of our programs to be successful, and we want to be proud of it. And as we have any significant decision, we knew that we had to find the right leader for a new era of football here at the university, and to continue that great legacy of excellence that pioneers ahead of us have done, giants in USF football. So today, if I could use a football term, it's my honor to kick off our press conference to make a very important announcement, not only regarding our ongoing commitment to the football program representing the university, but also its new leadership that we are absolutely confident will be fully committed to the standard of excellence in all facets of this program that we're so proud to call Cougar football. With that, it's my pleasure and honor to introduce our athletic director, Ben Gold, for some comments and to introduce our new coach. Man.
Thank you, Dr. Rafi. Before I introduce Coach Goldkowski, we would like to take a moment to thank a few individuals who have been very helpful during the search process. Dr. Bradfield has been highly involved. I think Coach Gold would account for that many conversations, and I think it's been wonderful. Members of the USF HR staff, you know who you are, we really appreciate you. USF Institutional Advancement, Marketing, IT, we really appreciate your efforts as well. The 9 inches of snow, I want to thank our maintenance folks because there's no way we all could have gotten here without all of their efforts as well. I want to thank my athletic department staff, coaches, and my staff as well. And I want to thank the former USF Cougar football players as well as the current USF football players. Believe it or not, I heard from many of you throughout the whole process, so I'm so excited to be here today. When we started the search process, we knew we were looking for someone who was shared to our commitment of excellence on and off the field. And we wanted a coach who inspired young men to play at a championship level. We wanted a man of faith, and we wanted a person of character. Coach Glow possesses these qualifications, and also he has an impressive list of accomplishments. He was a tremendous Division II student athlete. And if you don't know, Tom Frederick, who's our normal radio guy, who's in Fayette, Iowa, otherwise he would be here, commented about following him and covering him when he was playing at USC. He has had success every step of the way in his coaching career, and we know he knows how to be successful in the Northern Sun, our conference, so we're excited about that. He's thrilled to build on the tradition that we have here at USF football. He recognizes the coaches and the players who come before, and he knows who we lined up against when we played this year as well. Coach Lowe will leave an impression on every group he meets with, and we're thrilled to introduce him to you and to you all. It is my honor and privilege to welcome the 22nd head football coach for USF, Coach Jim Goldkowski.
So I'm not really a microphone guy, that's all right. You guys all hear me in the back? All right. So let me just start by saying thank you. What an honor, what a privilege to be here today. It starts and stops the leadership from this room, which is why I'm here today. Oh. My mom, Phyllis, my mom back in Omaha. Hopefully she's able to turn the TV on. I don't know. Usually she calls right before games because the MSIC network is a phenomenal way for you to watch football games. And I think everybody in this room has watched one of those streams. You know, my media guys in the back would complain about the MSU stream. Nothing wrong with that. MSU is a great place, but Sioux Falls has University of Falls one of the finest streaming outfits out there. So my mom loves watching us versus Sioux Falls. She understands the fact that we have to come down here and play. She just wants to see a good stream. So hopefully, Mom, Phyllis, if you're out there, you're able to turn on TV today. My brother in Seattle probably had to walk me through it. But anyways, I to get off track a little bit. But in all seriousness, I really appreciate you all coming out today. It's a pretty big deal. It's a pretty big deal in my life, in my family's life. This has been my calling. This is what I think I was called to do. And so I'm really blessed and privileged to be here today. I'd like to start by thanking Dr. Bradfield and Dr. Pam Gold. They've been phenomenal. I wish I could remember every person I met on my visit, the covert mission that we had, and I was told not to wear a suit. And then the first building I went into, I met the basketball coach, and my wife yelled at me and told me to keep walking. You're not supposed to talk to anybody. So, yeah, I'm just one of those guys that probably doesn't do the way you're supposed to do it. I wanted to wear my purple sneakers today, and my wife said not until you meet the players, because I don't know if everybody else will appreciate a pair of nice Chuck Taylor sneakers that are all purple. But you'll see those at some point. So, Plus, they're not Under Armour, so I don't know how that it's going to affect my contract or my deal. So, but anyhow, I like to have a good time. I like to have some laughs. Football's a great game. It doesn't define me. It's just what I am. I do not want our football players to say they're football players. I want to say they're student athletes and they play football. I always tell our players when you walk into a party, a holiday season here, and you meet somebody for the first time, the first thing they say is, "My name is Jim. What do you do?" Right? That's the first thing they ask you. What do you do? "Oh, I work in finances over there at such and such, or I build houses or whatever." I don't want our kids to say I'm a football player first. I want them to say that they are a person of faith, that they are a person that understands that football doesn't define them, it's just what they do, and they use football as a tool to help them reach their full potential in life. I've been fortunate enough to be surrounded by phenomenal people, phenomenal coaches. I've been in many places across the country, literally, work with some people that have been life-changing. And I would like to think when it's all said and done and my career wraps up, that if there's any inkling or tie to somebody such as Bob Young, that would be outstanding. I had the pleasure of speaking with Coach Young. I'm half Italian, so I can say that there. Yeah, I'm half Italian, half Polish. So the Italian side, they would say, I was a student athlete, as many of you know, at the University of South Dakota. And some names you might recognize, like Chuck Morrell and Kalen DeBoer, those guys are about my age, right? And so what's interesting is Chuck and I have always stayed in touch, and you go to these conventions and whatnot, and Kalen, and we've always been kind of connected that way. I'm sure that I was studying, and those guys were probably partying in the basement of the library, and I was doing my due diligence at USC, and they probably pulled me out to go downtown Vermillion, but I'm sure that's how we connected. But anyhow, Chuck and I played together for a little bit in South Dakota, and then he finished his fantastic career here in Sioux Falls. And I remember Chuck, the story I'll tell you real quick, and maybe some of you know that, there was a playoff game out of area they were playing, and he had an injury. He didn't make it back to the plane. That guy, he literally left it all out on the field. And Chuck embodies that toughness. And I think Kalen embodies that, the innovative techniques and approaches. And obviously, we did a lot at Minnesota State with Adam Thielen and Chris Reed. But when you can talk about alums in such a way, and Trey Pipkins, like the sports center, unfortunately, to coach against, and some of those guys, and your Kalen DeBoers and Chuck Morrells and Curtis Riggses, and these guys are on the Mount Rushmore of football in the state of South Dakota. And so to be able to kind of get their blessing, I had a laugh. So Chuck, as most of you know, is from Mount Home, Kalen's from Millbank, right? And when I talked to them last night, they were both in a pickup truck, I think in Oakland, California, doing a home visit, which I can only imagine what that was like. But talking to those guys, I said, "Hey guys, this sounds corny and I'm sure it's weird, but hey Kalen, would you mind saying something for a release?" And he's like, "Yeah, no problem, Chloe." And so he sends it off, and I read the text, and it's like, actually, I'm going to read it to you because I think you'll appreciate this. I'll make sure I get this right. So he says, my son might have to come here and help me. His nickname is Slime for a lot of reasons, but Slime knows how to do this stuff. But anyways, here's Kalen. So I say, "Hey, Kalen," I get off the phone. "Hey, shoot me a text, would you, so I can send it on to HR and whatnot." And he goes, "Yeah, here's what I sent. I went 67-3. Hopefully Coach Glow can match that. It's natties or bust." And I'm like, and I know Kalen, but I don't know Kalen, right? I mean, I hosted him on his recruiting visit. I think I did. At least he was from Millbank, and I just trying to find some other guy from Millbank. So if Justin Sawyer's out there, shout out to you from Millbank. He was the connection I had to get Kalen to commit. I didn't do a very good job, obviously, because he didn't come to USD. So that's where my first lesson in recruiting was. But long story short, I sat on the couch, and I'm like, "Honey, do you think he really sent this?" And then he texted back, "Just kidding, the real one's coming." I go, right? That would not be good not to get the endorsement of those guys. But anyhow, I was going to talk forever, and, I like to have a good time and embrace the process. And it's really cool that I can follow in their footsteps. It's really cool to embrace that. And I understand what this place means to you because I have a place in my heart just like these guys do for this place. It's called a brotherhood. It's a football brotherhood. Everybody can relate to what it's about because we all go through similar things. My polo might be different. My jersey might be different. But we all understand what that means to be a college football player and why you do it and how you do it. And if we're lucky enough to come across a Bob Young or a Kalen DeBoer or a Chuck Morrell or a Curtis Riggs or a John Anderson, if you're lucky enough to come across guys that care about a place so deeply that they push you beyond what you thought was possible, that's coaching. Coaching's not making a great call on fourth down. You all do that on Monday mornings. That's called Monday morning quarterbacking. My wife does it on Saturday nights. She told me Zach Durfee is in the portal. I need to get a hold of him. I said, "Honey, I know. Everybody knows Zach Durfee's in the portal, right? I get it, right?"
And then she'll tell me how my red zone production wasn't good enough and I should pressure more on third. I'm like, okay, she's a speech language pathologist. I don't tell her how to, treat someone who has a speech issue. I just leave me alone, would you? But what I do understand in college football, we're one of those professions where everybody in the community knows how your job went. And I love my wife dearly. She's my favorite person. She's my everything. But nobody's going to look at the charts and see how many speech impediments she fixed. It doesn't work that way, and then qualifier is good or bad. Football's different, and I embrace that. And I want to be the kind of guy that he says, yeah, that guy won some games, but man, if I could do it all over again, I'd play for Coach Glow. And that's the motive. So enough stories and bits and whatnot. I want to introduce the real stars of the show. If my wife, Kate, could please stand up. She's embarrassed. Give her some. Truth be told, Kate is the best athlete in the family. I'm the only Hall of Famer, but she's the best athlete. She's the only one that's hit a game-winning jumper in O'Gorman history that I've never done that. And unfortunately for my children, they got her size and my speed, so they've been disadvantaged from the get-go. But anyhow, I didn't marry her for athletes. I married her for love, and that's why we're still together 24 plus years later. So thank you, Kate. I appreciate everything you've done, helping us get here. It's a team game, and marriage is nothing more than the biggest team sport out there. So thank you. Probably the most important people in the room are my in-laws who made Kate. Joe and Carrie Rowe, if you could stand up. It's interesting, so again, Sioux Falls, they live here in Sioux Falls. They're O'Gorman folks, and so there's a lot of history there. And I was really nervous. I was a state school guy at USD, and I wanted to marry their daughter, and I wanted to do it the right way, and I wanted to drive up to Sioux Falls, and I might have had a few, Courage sodas on the way up to not driving, but, and like, how am I going to ask Joe for her hand in marriage? And he goes, so you want to marry her? I go, oh, yes, sir, I would like to marry your daughter. And, I had this whole thing, take her hand in marriage. He's like, good luck. Congratulations. And went back to the barn and put another slice of hay up for Buddy the horse. And I thought I was good. And here we are 24 years later, and he's sitting here today. And, they've been through a lot with us, as much as my own parents. They've been huge supporters. They've driven us, moved us, done all that stuff. And it's such a privilege to have them here with me today. I love you both. And thank you so much for everything you've done. So I know this is weird, but Phyllis is at home. Philly is my buddies in college used to call her my mom. She's sitting on a couch, probably with a big old wool blanket, saying how cold it is when the heat's up to 82 in the house, right? So Mom, if you're out there, I love you to death. I quit at USD on week 5. I got in a fight with my roommate in Julian Hall 316, and I got my 88 Dodge Daytona, and I flew home on I-29. And my mom woke up, and she's like, what are you doing? I go, I'm done. This is BS. I want to go with Hocus Pocus and BJ and Pit Dog. Those were my buddies. So it probably wasn't a good idea based on those names alone that I should go hang out with those guys in an apartment in West Omaha. But they weren't going to go to college, and they were just working. And she's like, you know what? You can stay here tonight, but you're getting up in the morning, you're going back, or you're moving out. And I was like, well, you don't love me? What I didn't know right there is that she set the wheels in motion for the rest of my life. And I've had coaches and role models, but nobody beats my mom. And I love you, Mom. I hope you're watching. Thank you. We'll give it up for Phyllis. And my dad was awesome. He spent 31 years in a factory making the lids to Spam cans. And many of you know in southern Minnesota, Austin, Minnesota is the home of Spam. And to this day, I have a de facto false Spam can that has no Spam in it, right? It's old. But every time I see that thing, it makes me think of my dad. He did not wake up every day going, man, I cannot wait to make this turn top Spam can. But he did it. And he never had a college degree. And my mom cleaned houses for a living in Omaha. And she started her own maid service, and it was phenomenal. Neither one of them had college degrees. And they used to tell me, Jimmy, by the way, just my mom and my wife call me Jimmy, so please don't call me Jimmy. But some of my players that they're really good players, they can call me Jimmy. But other than that, you don't call me Jimmy. But anyhow, and 31 years of going to an assembly line, worked his tail off, union, striking, all that stuff in Omaha. One summer, he got me a job, $15 an hour in 1993, union pay. Right? And I see some of you older folks in here going, yeah, I get that. That's a lot of money back in 1993. You had to punch a time clock and walk in. So my dad gets me this job because he had an EAP. If you worked there for 25 years, they gave you a 3-month paid vacation every other year to finish out your career at the Continental Can packing plant. So I replaced him on this EAP for the summer. Oh, this is awesome, $15 an hour. I was late the first day. I got a stern look from the shift manager. 2 days later, I must have been, practicing probably football too much into the night, and I overslept again. He pulled me aside. He said, I'm telling you what, bleep, 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 Lugowski, I don't care who your dad is. You show up late one more time, I'm firing you, and then he's going to fire you. I said, yes, sir. And I never missed another day. But I didn't understand what that meant. And that summer I spent in that packing plant and seeing what my dad did to get me to where I went, to college and all that, that made a difference in my life. And he passed on. He retired at 61. 6 months later, he had a heart attack on a golf course in Florida, right? And from that experience, I learned that don't take it for granted. Take advantage of every opportunity you get, and it's never too early to retire. I realized that too from him, so you never know. So I know he's not with us today, but I'm sure he's looking down and he's proud. And I got a couple brothers. My brother Jeff is in St. Louis, Missouri. My brother Jason lives in Seattle. Obviously, growing up in South Omaha with a last name like Lugowski, you had to be a little tougher around the block. So I like to think that my brothers were and I wasn't, so that helped. But anyhow, I appreciate my family. They've always been with me, and probably Kate would agree to this. The reason why we do this are the children and our kids, and we've been blessed beyond measure. We have 4 children. My oldest is an MSU grad. He's doing skills to be in the police, state highway patrol. So between skills and his job, apparently he quit his job this morning because his part-time job to pay his way through skills, the guy balked about him coming down here to see his dad get introduced as the head football coach at Sioux Falls. He's a Mankato grad, so whatever, it's fine. We'll take care of that in the first game next year. So anyways, he quit his job apparently, and he's on his way down. So buying a little bit of time for him to show up, but if he doesn't, my oldest son, he's awesome. He's a great kid. He's moved a lot. We moved to Mankato going into his junior year in high school, and so he's put up a lot of that stuff, and I appreciate him. He's not here today, but if the other 3 could stand up. My beautiful daughters. I'm a dad, a girl dad, Maddie. Benjamin, AKA Slime, you guys in the back. And this is our little sprite of, well, I would say bright ray of sunshine, but she told us yesterday that she was getting a place by herself and staying in Mankato because the dance program she's all about it. So we got to recruit her next. But anyhow, but they're my pride and joy. They're the reason why I do this. And we have a special guest here, Brett. Brett, stand up. So a lot of you parents in the room can understand, Brett is dating my daughter 5+ years now. I called him Bart for a long time because I didn't want to call him Brett. I didn't want to see somebody take away my little girl. But he's a pretty good dude, and he wouldn't be here today if I didn't dig Brett, man. So I appreciate you, Brett, for coming today. So, man, I hope I didn't forget anybody. You're probably going, Pam's like freaking out because she warned me. But you don't get a chance to do this very often. This is pretty special. It's a pretty big deal to me and my family. This is home. This is home. I'm a USD Coyote, but I bleed purple now. And so I'm excited to take over. I'm excited to build on the traditions of the past. And I'm so thankful for the administration giving me this opportunity. Thank you to my family. Thank you to all the players that are here today. I hope to catch up with you guys later. A lot of you guys I already kind of know in the recruiting. And I just saw you guys on the field a few weeks ago. So I feel like I got a great handle on what's going on here. I got my friends in the media here. David Brown, the kick game is always on point. Jay Elson and some of the folks. I even see Zim back there. Sounds like it might be the arch nemesis around here for leaking some stuff out. And of course, my man Witt. So some of these guys, what a lot of people don't understand around here is if these guys didn't do their job, they make Division II football matter. And I don't know if you don't play Division II football and you don't appreciate what these guys do. I watch the podcast. I'm coming clean with it. I watch the podcast every Sunday night, and I love it to have that kind of, it's like our own version of Kirk Herbstreit and Game Day. In the Midco Network, I'm excited to be a part of that. Maybe they'll waive my subscription fee now that I'm in Sioux Falls. But I think it's worth the content, though, fellas. It's worth the content. But I appreciate it. I don't know what else to say. I'm humbled. I'm grateful. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody. If I did, next time I get a mic, I'll say thank you. So appreciate it. Thank you very much for having me. I'm awesome. Great day to be a Cougar.
Thank you, Coach, for your comments and also your vision for our USF football program. We're excited. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this. Pam was very generous talking about the time commitment to this. I do have to lift up our athletic director. I think Pam is sick of seeing my number coming into her phone. Evenings, weekends, this has been a long process, but it was worth every second of it. So thank you, Pam, for the work you have done. Also, thank all of you for coming today and being part of this exciting announcement. We do have food, refreshments. We hope that you will stay and share in some fellowship. There's a lot of commonality in this room, and we want everyone to enjoy each other's company. But before I close, we do have some gifts,
And I'm still trying to sort this out because there's no names on here. So I would tell the family this: if you get the wrong thing, for example, if you get a small, you know that's not yours, and then we'll get it passed around. But I would ask you to come forward, and the Jim, Kate, kids, come on up. We have a gift for you. That one is Jim's. Those are Jim and Kate. These are for the kids. Got some more. Might have an extra one, but we'll sort it out here when we're done. So, thank you. I say this frequently, not on just a day that we're hiring a football coach, but some people in the audience would relate to this because they've heard me say it. When we hire people at the University of Sioux Falls, we consider it family. No matter who you are, no matter what you serve here at the University of Sioux Falls, we know we're hiring families, and that's the important part of this community here at USF. So we welcome our newest members of the USF community. Help me give them a hand, please. Thank you. Thank you very much. For the media, we have some opportunity for face-to-face interviews. We have a backdrop over here. We have a room right off adjacent to the lobby area here, and we can do that for photos or individual interviews. I know a lot of you are probably anxious to meet Coach Glow if you haven't already done that, and or members of his family. So feel free to do that, but we do need to give the media some opportunity to have conversations with them. I hope the rest of us can grab some food, enjoy the moment, and thank you all for being here. If you're going home as students, safe travels, please. All right, blessings, everyone. Thank you very much.